Friends, we are celebrating a milestone today. Late last year, I crossed $1 million in course sales on Teachable, and got this beautiful award to celebrate. And I want to share exactly what it took, the nitty-gritty of what it takes to make $1 million in course sales, in my experience. It's all, make $1 million in 6 weeks here on the interwebs. And that wasn't my lived experience. So I'm going to share what I've learned over the course of generating all of these course sales. And if you have been in one of my courses, thank you so much. We're celebrating this together. I teach everything that I know in great detail in my Brand Clarity Collective. So if you want even a deeper dive into making this work for your brand and yourself, selling whatever you sell, whether it's courses or services or creative work or whatever it is, join me in there. I'd love to have you, and I would love to mentor, coach, advise in your journey to $1 million+ in sales. I started selling courses in 2017 on Teachable. Beautiful business model, infinitely scalable. There's all sorts of examples of people who have done this even faster and at an even bigger scale than me. Of course, there's always going to be somebody that's better, faster. I want to offer the kind of slow and steady version of this story, because if I can do it, I think you can do it too. And I know that that is incredibly cliche, but let's dive in. The first key to making $1 million in course sales was long-term thinking. I knew that I wanted this to be my business model. I knew all of the pluses and positives of it, and I committed to it back when my daughter was incubating in my belly, and I knew that I needed to divorce some of my sales from my direct time spent. I couldn't just rely on serving clients in a one-to-one capacity or even in a group environment all of the time. I really did want to productize some of my offers, some of my knowledge, so that people could benefit from it when I was taking care of a newborn, or when I go on vacation, when I am being like super ADHD and not getting anything done. I wanted something that was an asset in my business, a long-term asset. So I committed to it back then. And it wasn't immediately profitable. That first launch spent many thousands of dollars, generated many thousands of dollars, but the delta, the difference between my revenue and expenses was a small amount. And it was that way for many launches. It wasn't until I launched my archetype courses, my brand fluency archetype courses, there's 12 different courses, one for each archetype, that I had kind of like my first big breakthrough. And I think that that first launch of the archetype courses was maybe like 30 or 40K in profit. It took a couple years of building up, and of course, just readjusting my messaging and readjusting the actual offer, the product that I was selling, to meet the market where there was demand. So consistency, consistency, consistency. If you are going to build a course business, be in it for the long haul. The way that markets work is the top 1% earn an outsized portion of the market. So we want to continually be building towards being one of those top performers in our niche. And the good news is there's so many different niches. You can sell courses about business, about wealth, about relationships, about health, about hobbies, and lots of things in between. So we want to reach the top of that little niche that we carve out for ourselves, but it probably is going to take some time to get there. Number 2 was to shift my mindset around lead generation. I realized early on that having a small audience wasn't going to cut it when it comes to selling courses at scale. My brand fluency archetype courses are $297. Brand new brand is $997. I am generally operating in this kind of like mid-market price range. That means that every sale that comes through is a couple $100 or at most $1,000. It isn't the high ticket one-on-one work like my consulting and like my coaching or agency work. So I needed more students to reach that threshold where I was actually making a sizable profit. If you're committing to the course business model, you're going to want to focus on audience building, building your email list, And the most effective strategy I've used for lead generation by far has been my brand archetype quiz. I've had that lead generation quiz and I've been using ads to generate traffic for that lead gen quiz for years and years and years, and it continues to perform. It continues to grow my email list, continues to introduce new people to my brand. And all of that is necessary to sell courses at scale. So maybe it's not a quiz for you. However, if you do want a quiz, I have a course, how meta, about how to create a quiz that converts. So I will teach you exactly how I've optimized and made my quiz more and more amazing over the years. And I would love to share that with you. As a reminder, you can also get my entire library of courses in the Brand Clarity Collective, including Convert with a Quiz and the 12 Brand Fluency Archetype courses and Branding Brand and all of that goodness at a very affordable price for the value that's included. Number 3 is to focus on becoming a leader. We already talked about the desire to be in that top 1% or top 5% of your niche, of your market. And the way that we do that is by becoming a leader online. We need to share value generously. People can find information everywhere. They can find it on TikTok, here on YouTube. They can find information on the millions of websites that Google indexes. So why would they pay for information from you? We reduce the risk and we shift the power back into our court by becoming a leader online, by creating content, by showing up in front of other people's audiences as a subject matter expert, by continuing to expand our own expertise and our own skill with delivering content and teaching and sharing what we know. I truly believe that entrepreneurs can change the world with what they know, but that doesn't mean that we are perfect at presenting it or packaging it up from the start. We need to develop those skills over time. And the better you get at being a leader, being a content creator, being a thought leader, if you don't mind that cringeworthy word, the more people we're going to attract into our world. And like we said, with lead generation, the more people that we can potentially sell our courses to and help and impact in that way. Moving on in step number 4 or key number 4 to selling $1 million in course sales, we're moving on to the actual product. So wrapping up promotion. We talked about consistency, long-term thinking. We talked about prioritizing lead generation, and we talked about becoming a thought leader in your space. Now, on the product side of things, you do actually need to sell something that's valuable. This isn't something that, in my experience, you're going to create in an afternoon or in a weekend. I know lots of people will sell you on that. Like, you can just set up this course in a weekend and then you'll be on your way to being a millionaire and owning your own private island. And I have taken the opposite approach because I want to serve generously and give as much value as humanly possible. I have spent thousands of hours developing the course content, thousands of hours developing the brand experience that people have in that container, thousands of hours supporting my students, answering questions, being on coaching calls, being on sales calls, and just, thousands and thousands of dollars in team, in software, in support. These things were not put together in a weekend. This is my life's work. And I sell courses to this day that I developed 5 years ago. I go through every so often, about every 2 years or so, and I update the content, improve the experience. If anything ever breaks or is being weird or students are having an issue with something, we go in and fix it as soon as possible. All to say, the work and the time and the money that you invest in creating your offer and creating your product is going to continue to serve you for years to come. And you're going to reach thousands of potential students. Why wouldn't you put your all into it? Why wouldn't you invest time in making that the absolute best product that it can be? Why would you slap it together in a weekend? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that this has been one of my keys to success, is that I truly care. And I have put just countless hours and dollars into making these the best products possible. Key number 5 is to experiment. We already kind of alluded to this. I have sold my branding brand course very successfully for a long time, but the first launch that was a really big success was the brand fluency courses. And I've also had really successful launches with my Convert with a Quiz course. And we have a thriving community in the Brand Clarity Collective now. However, those are the highlight reel. Not everything has been so successful. And I've tried a bunch of other courses, products, launches, etc. And they've all worked to varying degrees. I keep what works. I repeat it again later because there's always going to be new people coming into your audience because you're prioritizing lead generation. So the assets that you create that work, you're going to use again. But sometimes stuff doesn't work. I sold a very low ticket course. I can't even remember the name of it now because it was kind of a flop, but it was something about daily visibility. So I was sending people through a chat bot on Facebook a daily content prompt that they could use to create content around, to build their brand, grow their audience, all those good things. Great idea, fun technology, just didn't really work. I mean, we had a couple amazing students in the course, but when I realized that it wasn't at a strategic price point for me, it was kind of a distraction. It just wasn't really working. So I stopped selling it. I use it as a bonus now for some of my courses. So all is not lost, but I'm willing to cut sling load when things are not working. So experiment, try different launches, try different hooks, try different messaging, try different ways of selling the same offer. If we can have a bunch of different entry points into your core offer, then that's many different possibilities and potential to sell different people into it because different people respond to different messages. We can experiment with the way that we're selling, with the way that we're launching, with the way that we're talking about it. And through that process, we find out what actually works and what doesn't resonate so much. Key number 6, I hate doing the business dishes. I hate doing things that I have to do again and again and again. Even when I'm creating YouTube videos, I sit down and I batch a whole bunch of them so I don't have to think about it again for another month at least, if not 2 or 3 months. Similarly, if we're selling courses, I like to set up systems that I only have to do once. I write an email sequence for my students once and then I set it up on autopilot. I set up an automation from Zapier, from Teachable to ActiveCampaign, my email marketing, and then I never have to think about that again. They actually have a direct connection now. Just recently, they set that up, but in the past, it's all been on Zapier. Think about what can you create? What can you do in terms of setting up a funnel, setting up a client and student experience that you just set up once, and then every person that comes into your orbit, every person that comes into your world is going to experience that same amazing process. And how can you create systems, standards, templates so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single time. I've even gotten it down to the point where I have a slide deck template in Canva and I'll use it for most of my webinars. I think I have 2 different ones that I use to just keep things interesting, keep them popping. And every other part of the course experience is that way. I have sales page templates. I have worksheet templates. All of these things have made it so much easier to create new assets. Also, in this realm of thinking about scale and automation or standard systems, etc., I almost always had a student support person on my team. I recognize that I am not the fastest replier to emails. That's just not my strength. I bring people onto my team who thrive in relationship building, who love to take care of little details from start to finish. And I'm augmenting myself with team so that we can scale and serve more people better. And my final key is key number 7. Be mindful of the brand experience. You're not selling a commodity. If you were selling a commodity, your course would be $0 because that's how much most information on the internet costs. Because you're creating this premium price point, this premium value exchange, be mindful of every part of the brand experience. Infuse your brand personality, your brand standards, the visual standards, your visual identity into each part of the course experience. It really does elevate the perceived value that students have as they go through the course. Another thing to think about in terms of brand experience is accessibility. Different people learn in different ways. So I always like to have the videos. I like to provide transcripts. I like to have worksheets for the people that are more hands-on and they want to try things out and create them for themselves. I have templates. I try to attack the subject matter from every angle possible so that every student possible has the most amazing experience that they can. So there you have it, 7 beautiful keys that have enabled this incredible milestone for my business. And we have seen so many incredible brands created from these courses. I love to hear the feedback and the way that these have impacted people's lives and their businesses. It's such an amazing marriage of great business model, super scalable, low expenses with incredible potential and incredible impact. Thank you so much for all of my current, past, and future students and clients. I hope that this inspires you to go after whatever your $1 million milestone is, whether that's your first $1,000, $100,000, million. Bye guys.